Anupam, Vinita and Aman all started asking me to make a decision. To ease the tension, I asked them to not intimidate me like that, which became the most viral part of season 3. I was the chef, branding person, marketeer, customer care executive, everything for my brand for the first year. मुझे ना सुनना पसंद नहीं है. Let me tell you something that very few people know. The actual Shark Tank I started with 50,000 rupees, an Instagram page, and a small home kitchen. And I made it to Shark Tank. And my pitch became the most viral pitch of the season. You must have seen me all over the internet. Now, let me tell you how it all happened and take you behind the scenes. Hi, I'm Priyasha Saluja, the founder of the Cinnamon Kitchen, a vegan, gluten-free, and plant-based bakery. When I was 13, I was diagnosed with PCOS. That time, I didn't know what to do or where to start. Later on, I moved to Mumbai to pursue my first job. At the time, I had my own kitchen and I had more control over the food that I was eating. Every Sunday, I would go to a modern trade market and get the best of groceries, fresh vegetables, fruits, and try to make things that were delicious for me. I would love the process of going through recipes, trying to create something that was healthy and delicious at the same time. It was a very tedious process. It took me about 4 to 5 hours to make the meals that I would then consume during the week. But I really started enjoying the process. I started documenting this process on an Instagram page. I would post pictures of the recipes that I had created and encourage people to eat healthy food that nourishes their body. I soon realized that even though my recipes were out there, people still started asking me to make the things that I was making and send it to them. There was a clear need and a clear demand for the things that I was doing, but not everybody had the know-how, the time, or the willingness to do what I was doing. At the time, it struck me that Cinnamon Kitchen can really become something. 2 years later, I moved back to Delhi to pursue the Cinnamon Kitchen full-time. At this time, I had 50,000 of savings left from my previous job. I saw a clear opportunity and thought of moving back home and starting Cinnamon Kitchen. But when I told my parents about this idea, they were really worried. They wanted me to do an MBA and set into a traditional job. They were also fearing why I would leave a well-paying, settled job to do something that was so unheard of at the time. But I was determined. I knew what I did was with a purpose and it would make a difference to thousands of lives around me as it had made for myself. I started with 50,000 rupees, a little shelf in my room. I couldn't even start from my kitchen because my kitchen uses so much gluten and I didn't want there to be any cross-contamination. I had a small oven that could only bake a half-kilo cake at once or 4 cookies. At the time, I was so happy and full of joy to be doing what I truly loved, that my parents were just convinced and they were happy to give me a year to try what I really had put my heart to. On a daily basis, I would document what I was eating at the Cinnamon Kitchen. The Cinnamon Kitchen was an extension of my home kitchen and the food that I was making and eating every day. I started making things in small batches, asking people on Instagram stories if they would want to buy what I was creating. And people started loving seeing the documentation of the process. I started making cookies, cakes, crackers, some nut butters, some smoothies, and people flocked to want to buy it. But at the time, the orders were super limited. I would get 1 order or 2 orders every 2 days. I was full of enthusiasm, but at times I was also sitting by myself wondering that I'd left a well-paying job to do this, which was very uncertain. My life was full of a lot of fear at the time, but I was determined and I knew that what I was doing made sense. And there was something that told me that it will work out sooner or later. Due to limited budgets, I couldn't afford a marketing agency that would make a logo for me. I asked my friend to make a logo for me, and he made a circular one. When I got the printouts, I realized that they'd printed it in a circular format, and I asked them to make a cutout of it. They then told me that it required a certain die to be able to cut the logos in a circular format, which I didn't have enough money for. So for the first 6 months, I cut out every logo myself in the circular format. That was how resilient I was for my business idea and what I truly believed in. It didn't deter me at all. I did the branding myself. I booked the orders myself. I coordinated with the customer myself. I was the chef, branding person, marketeer, customer care executive, everything for my brand for the first year. In hindsight, I really want to tell you all that it's not about doing things right. It's about being resilient. You may do things wrong, but if you're resilient and if you're open to taking feedback, you will grow. I promise you that. After a year, I started seeing regular orders pouring in. People loved my products, even though I still didn't have proper branding and marketing in place. The demand grew so much that I had to move out of my home kitchen and move into a 1,000 square facility near my place. At the time, there was COVID, there was a lot of uncertainty around businesses and how the economy would react and how the people would react to everything that I was doing. But that didn't stop me either because I saw that there was a clear demand and people loved what I was doing and I could get real time feedback from my Instagram page. I moved into a 1,000 square feet facility near my place and got two people to help me with the raw material preparation. The final product, branding, marketing, customer care, everything was still being done by me. It didn't take me more than 6 months to realize that the demand had grown so much that I now had to move out of the 1,000 square facility into a bigger one. And so then we moved into a 2,000 square feet facility in Sector 63 Noida. This was a commercial scale facility that helped me employ people and structure the organization better. Also get time for branding, marketing, having a website in place and doing things the right way. Within 6 months, the company that employed 5 people at this point moved to something like 10 or 15 people. And within the next 6 months, it was 25 of us. Now we had people to do the raw material preparation, to bake the cookies. There was customer care, there was operation executives. Things were being done in a much more systematic way. And I saw the brand growing organically itself. During this time, a lot of celebrities also started using and loving the products. And all of this was done organically. People tried the products, loved them, posted about them on Instagram page, and other people just followed. And that's really how the brand has grown so far. Our USP has always been to give quality products to people and never compromise on that. And everything else has followed suit. When we were operating out of a 2,500 square feet facility with 25 people, I now realized that the business had reached a scale where it needed more funds to expand rapidly. There was a clear product market fit. What we were doing was being loved by the consumers. But in order to reach more people, we really needed money to be able to grow multifold. And that's when I saw Shark Tank come in, and it was a perfect opportunity for me that I wanted to seize. Let me tell you something that very few people know. The actual Shark Tank process starts in June. They make you fill one single form that details everything about your brand. When you get selected in that round, you get another form, which is a more detailed one, where you talk about everything that your business has done from starting to finish, everything that you have done so far, along with a video that checks your screen presence. Once you get selected in that round, you do a third round, which is an in-person round where they do a mock pitch of your current business and they also check you for screen presence. At this time, they also ask you for all your business documentation so that they know what you're saying is truthful. It's an extremely rigorous process that requires so much work, but it's a beautiful one at that. There couldn't be a better way to prepare me for an actual pitch. After the third round happened, we were impatiently waiting for our turn. We got the confirmation in September telling us that we were flying to Mumbai and pitching in front of the actual sharks. I was so nervous but exhilarated. I knew that this was going to change the face of the brand as I saw it. The process of pitching at Shark Tank is a 4-day process. On the first day, you are asked to sit with the creative team and polish the pitch that you have written. They only polish it in terms of the wording and make it crisper and more presentable to the larger public. On the second day, you sit with the set team and the finance team to polish your finances and your final setup. On the third day, you revise everything that you've done so far. And on the fourth day is when the actual pitch is. Let me tell you a little secret. It's one day before the actual pitch that you get to know the sharks that you're going to be presenting to. I knew for me it was going to be Namita, Vinita, Anupam, Aman and Dipinder. I was so excited and I thought that I'd received my perfect set of sharks to invest. As I entered the tank and I greeted all the sharks, and I spoke about my pitch and my brand, something that I had worked on and created for the past 4 years. I was smiling, laughing, and the sharks were as well. I made them try the products and all of them loved what I had created. I was so happy seeing that. I made them try the fudge, the flourless cookies, the apple crumble cake, and they all loved each and every one of my products. This filled me with a lot of confidence and gave me the enthusiasm to continue and pitch my brand confidently. All nervousness went away in that point. I really stepped into the tank thinking I'd get a deal from Dipinder and Aman. Those were my two top picks. But soon after, I realized that Dipinder could not invest because of conflict of interest with Zomato. I was broken at the time, but I was still determined to get a deal. Thankfully, Because of his insight into the business, he could tell other sharks as to what quality lied in Cinnamon Kitchen, the trends of the grocery market in India, which helped me immensely through my pitch. The pitch went on, they asked me a bunch of questions. My numbers were something that I had kept a close eye on throughout. Being a bootstrap business owner, you need to know what your bottom line is, you need to be very thorough with your business numbers, and you need to know that you're actually making money, otherwise you'd be in a soup. We did get some feedback on our branding. But as a D2C brand that is bootstrapped with limited resources, a lot of things had taken priority in the process of growth. The customers would come to the website and get the products based on the information that was available on the website. The packaging was not very retail friendly, and we knew that, and we were actively trying to work towards it by launching limited products in the retail section after making them retail friendly. But I really appreciated that feedback and all the other feedback that sharks gave me during the process. Let me also tell you a little secret. The actual pitch is an hour and a half and not 20 minutes as shown on TV. In this hour and a half, the sharks talk about multiple things, they discover different things about your business, and the information that I received in that hour and a half was truly invaluable for me. To my surprise, I didn't have one but three offers. I had an offer from Vinita, from Anupam, and from Aman. The initial offer I got from Vinita and Anupam was 60 lakhs for 10% equity. The offer that I then received from Aman was 10 lakhs for 2% equity and a 50 lakh loan for the business. I realized as the pitch continued that at this point, because it was the first time that I was diluting equity, it would make more sense for me to have an equity only deal, as was also pointed out by Vinita and Dipinder during the pitch. When Aman offered me a deal of 50 lakhs for 12% interest rate, I laughed and said that my credit score is great, and I was actually looking at debt at the time and realized that the market offered me a debt at a much lower interest rate. So that deal didn't make sense for me at all. He later offered me an equity only deal for 60 lakhs for 5%, which I graciously accepted because I was so excited to be working with him. I didn't anticipate for three sharks to be offering me a deal, all of varying kinds. Nothing had prepared me for that situation because it was the first time that I was raising funds. They were asking me time and again to make a decision, but I didn't want to make a decision in a hurry. I wanted to wait, analyze all the offers in my head, and then make an educated decision. After all, it was the first time that I was diluting the equity of my company. Anupam, Vinita, and Aman all started asking me to make a decision, and I felt really intimidated at that point. To ease the tension, I asked them to not intimidate me like that, which became the most viral part of season 3. Honestly, I'm still absorbing that. But life after Shark Tank has been extremely exciting. The orders have skyrocketed. The number of people getting in touch on Instagram has increased so much. It's like the brand is on steroids. This has also led us to expand further, and from a 2,500 square feet facility as mentioned in October, we're now operating at a 5,000 square facility with more than 35 people. Personally as well, it's made a huge mark on what I'd been doing so far. It seems like all my efforts have finally come into the limelight. There's been interest from so many other investors, so many people have tried the brand, appreciated it, and I can't wait to see what lies ahead for the brand. And I never imagined that the things that I said in a funny manner would come out so beautifully on television and my pitch would go so viral. Looking back at all of this, I realized something that Aman said at the time. मुझे ना सुनना पसंद नहीं है. And I feel like that in essence is what an entrepreneur is. I think entrepreneurs more than anything need to be built out of resilience. They need to come out and do the same thing over and over again and get it right. That's the biggest lesson that I derive from it. Also the fact that you have to do it as you are in the most authentic manner. This is Priyasha Saluja on Josh Talks. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope everybody had something to take away from the conversation.